Be patient, go back to your husband's bed. He has done nothing shameful or terrible," the mother instructed her frightened daughter. The mother had not bothered to explain to her daughter all the nuances of married life. On February 18th, 1858, in the royal palace of Brussels, the first daughter of the royal couple was born, Louise Marie Amélie of Belgium. The father was the young Duke Leopold of Brabant, heir to the throne, who would become Leopold II, and the mother was the Austrian Archduchess Marie Henriette. The birth of the girl caused moderate rejoicing. After all, everyone had been expecting a son, but Brussels celebrated the birth of the princess with salutes nonetheless. Louise grew up amid the splendor of the royal residence. The father, obsessed with colonial projects, was home only intermittently. The mother spent hours in the stables of Laeken. Marie Henriette adored horses and hunting. The children were entrusted to governesses: French, dancing, piano, and obligatory conversations in German at dinner, the classic education of a Belgian princess. Observers noted Louise was a little copy of her mother: jet black hair, olive-colored eyes, an excellent figure, and flashes of stubbornness. By the age of 6, the girl was already riding in a lady's saddle. By the age of 8, she was playing Chopin. But family warmth was replaced by cold discipline and dry letters from her father. In the year 1867, 9-year-old Louise and her younger sister Stephanie were sent to Austria to the court of Emperor Franz Joseph. The emperor reportedly readily agreed. His wife, Elizabeth of Bavaria, was fond of the Belgian princesses. Louise ran and played with her cousins Gisela and Marie Valerie through the corridors of Schönbrunn, learned horseback riding at the Spanish riding school on Heldenplatz, and absorbed Habsburg etiquette. It was there that the girl saw the epitome of feminine beauty, the beautiful Sisi, swinging on golden swings with flowing long hair. Louise dreamed of being like her, free, traveling, rather than sitting under the weight of a crown. Alas, the Belgian court thought otherwise. Louise was considered a desirable match, heiress to a colony in the Congo, and a substantial dowry. The father was satisfied with a familial alliance. The choice fell on Prince Philip of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, her third cousin. He was 14 years older than the 17-year-old bride. In Brussels, he charmed the entire court with his manners and nobility. In July of 1875, a lavish wedding was held in Brussels. Newspapers raved: the bride in lace, a tiara of diamond lilies, a golden carriage, 1,000 lanterns along La Monnie. People said the couple looked wonderful together, but in reality, as always, it was a union without love. And the wedding night turned out to be a complete surprise for Louise. In women's romance novels for respectable ladies, there were no descriptions of marital relations. Louise's mother relied on the son-in-law's prudence and experience, and he in turn gave no thought to that delicate moment. In reality, after the wedding night, a tearful Louise was found in the orangery. She could not believe that henceforth this was a woman's lot, pain and humiliation. Could this knight truly do such things? He tore her dress and bit her. He forgot that before him was an innocent princess, not one of his actresses. On the second night, Louise locked herself in another chamber, according to the lady-in-waiting's memoirs. On the night after the celebration, the princess refused to share the bed, locked herself in, and wept. In the morning, she left her husband but returned after persuasion. Philip, a brilliant cavalry officer in the Imperial Army, was fond of gambling. Louise, at 17, dreamed of romance, while her husband dreamed of the Vienna racetrack. Quarrels began immediately. She despised his pedantry. He, her desire to wear trains and visit museums contrary to the court schedule. In the year 1876, the couple moved to Vienna. Louise became friends with the Crown Prince, Archduke Rudolf. Rudolf saw in Louise a kindred spirit. Both were burdened by rigid etiquette, adored horseback riding, and enjoyed liberal discussions. Rumors spread that their friendship nearly turned into a romance. However, Stephanie, Louise's sister, married Rudolf. It is unlikely that Louise was capable of such betrayal toward her sister. Louise and Philippe had 2 children, but even children could not save the marriage. Louise felt that the Viennese court was a gilded cage, and Belgium an alienated home where her father, the king, spent millions on the Congo and courted the courtesan Blanche Delacroix. In the year 1894, Louise met the Croatian adjutant Count Jeza Matašić. He was 10 years younger, wore a mustache and hussar epaulettes, and played the violin. A romance flared between them, a rare case when a princess openly placed feelings above dynasty. Philip blocked his wife's access to their accounts, and Louise fled to Paris with Matašić. Vienna and Brussels exploded in scandal. On February 19, 1898, a duel took place in Vienna between Philip and Count Matašić. Geza was wounded in the arm. Louise tried to obtain an official divorce, but unsuccessfully. Gradually, Louise's debts grew, but her father and estranged husband refused to pay them. Stephanie was forbidden to communicate with her sister, though it should be said Stephanie was not exactly enchanted with her own Austrian husband when she found love in the arms of a Polish magnate. I have written a separate article about that. Geza forged Stephanie's signature on a financial document, for which he was arrested. The sentence, 4 years in prison. Louise was given a choice: return to her husband or be placed in an asylum. She chose the latter. A medical commission, dependent on the royal court, diagnosed her with neurasthenia and moral instability. In the winter of 1904, Louise, with the help of an attendant, sawed through a window grate, escaped into the snowdrifts, and wearing a man's greatcoat, made her way to the station. By train through Switzerland, to Italy, and then to the south of France, where Matašić, released from prison, met her. Brussels deprived Louise of all allowances, and Philippe finally filed for divorce. The couple lived in cheap hotels in Montparnasse. Matašić squandered money. Louise pawned the family pearls. The court awarded her a pension of 100,000 francs from the family fund, but almost all of it went to pay the count's gambling debts. In the year 1910, Louise filed a civil lawsuit against the king for the illegal withholding of her personal capital. Even though she was disgraced by her family, she remained a princess with her own rights. The case dragged on. Only the death of Leopold II in 1909 allowed her to receive modest interest. When the Germans entered Belgium, Louise was living in Geneva. Matašić was interned as a subject of Austria-Hungary. Leopold Clement, her only son, died in 1916. Poor and alone, the princess rented rooms under the assumed name Madame de Retival. In the year 1922, Matašić died. Louise was granted a small annuity on the condition that she would not appear in Schleswig-Holstein and would not cause scandals. Louise settled in the spa town of Wiesbaden. The mineral waters eased her arthritis, but she barely had enough money for the boarding house. On March 1, 1924, her heart gave out. She was buried in the old cemetery in Wiesbaden without a royal procession. It is said that some of her last words were, "I served only my heart."